All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our draft grades, and this time we are doing Dynasty for Legacy. So the rookie draft here, and we're going to dive right into it. In the background, we're going to have Boise State taking on Colorado, Ashton Genty taking on Shador Sanders, Don's favorite player on the team. Not Travis Hunter, not the Heisman winner, Shador Sanders. But we're going to start with the first overall pick here. This was Kev's draft pick, and Mike obtained this somehow, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or no, I think I had
Um,
Kev's draft pick. No, this is just straight up Mike's. So Mike actually got lucky and got the
he
first
won the
overall
lottery.
pick. Yeah, yeah. So Mike's somehow won on some nonsense, and he gets the generational prospect. That is Ashton Genty. Uh, what do you think of this pick, Dan, or the player, or whatever?
Um, so Genty, I think he's gonna be a top six running back from the get go.
Hmm.
I think that's his floor. I think he could finish as high as RB3 for the year. Um, but this is a guy that's probably gonna get 85-90% of the snaps. Um, just a well-rounded RB1. Uh, Go ahead.
So I do agree. I think Genty, I'd be surprised if he busts. One of the best prospects we had one of the best seasons ever. Would have been Heisman in a whole lot of other seasons. Travis Hunter, of course, had a phenomenal year as well. So either one of those guys winning would have been great. But a Heisman winning running back that showed you can catch the passes out of the backfield, show you that he can break long runs, can handle a full time workload. He can do it all, and he's gone to a situation where they will utilize him. Uh, we thought Bijan's going to get utilized. He really didn't his rookie year. That was a coaching problem. I think Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly will have no problem getting this man 80, 90% snaps, like you said right away. I give it an A plus grade.
I agree. A plus.
All right, now we're going on to our next pick here. And this was Bidham. He got this pick from me. He traded a second round pick to move up from a second round pick in 2026 to move up from the 102 and the 103. And he drafted Amarion Hampton here. I
Um,
Go ahead, go ahead.
Hampton, I'm not as excited about for his rookie year. I feel like Najee's better than Ramondre in my opinion. Probably gonna get more snaps as well. But usually, around that bye week, rookies usually do their thing. They start getting into the offense, and I expect that probably for Hampton. Probably around week 13 when they come off their bye is when you really see him explode.
And that's just in time for the fantasy playoffs. I love his situation even more than Genty's, right? Not for this year, of course, but running behind that O line and that high power of an offense. Uh, I love the situation there. It's all about workload. How much will you get, right? Like you said, Najee's competing, right? When you compare with Genty, he's competing with Alexander Madison. Of course, they're going to give Genty all the touches. Why give Madison any? But Najee, I think, has shown, although he's not as good as a back in fantasy as you expect, as a back, he shows he can pass protect, catch out the backfield, get some hard nose running, whatever the case may be. Najee's going to be a nuisance, I think. But I do like Marion Hampton a lot as a player and a prospect, and I do like him going to the Chargers. I'm giving this pick an A.
I'll give it an A as well.
All right. Our next pick, the person I traded back to get, I got three picks in a row here. So the order you could say is whatever, but I knew I was going to take these three players. I went Travis Hunter at the 103. So let's talk about him real quick. Travis Hunter is the most polarizing player in this draft class. And he's also very risky. I think he's a tremendous talent. As wide out, as corner, either or, great on both sides. The problem is, how much does he play? Does he play most of the snaps, like 90% plus, like how you do on Colorado, both 90% on offense or 90% defense? I don't know his actual splits or anything. I don't think his snap count would be that high because the pros is a little bit tougher and all that and more physical. He's more risk of getting injured. He playing that many snaps. Does he play 80% at wideout, 50% at corner? It's a risky pick, so I can't give it nearly as high as a draft grade as I want. I'm gonna go A minus. Say what you got about Travis Hunter though.
With Travis Hunter, I like him. I think he could win anywhere on the field as a wide receiver. I think he's a good deep ball threat, good at the line of scrimmage, everything. Um, the only thing I'm worried about is that I don't think his quarterback is that good. Um, yeah, T Law's kind of trash. So
Oh my.
hopefully Liam Cohen can fix him. Because if he fixes him, then we're in for a good watch with the Jaguars. But other than that, Travis Hunter I think is a good pick. I do think he plays more wide receiver than corner. Personally, because of the draft capital they invested into him. So I will give it a minus.
All right. So I want to talk about Matt Harmon's reception perception. I'm not sure if people saw this, but Matt Harmon is somebody that does, he grades wide receivers on how well they separate, what routes they run at, what percentage they separate, stuff like that. And Travis Hunter stuff was off the charts. I'm talking about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase level, like generational talent type stuff. So that's one thing that really does make me excited for him. But like I said, we will have to see if he's really getting the snap count. I think it's going to come down to snap count percentage. I think when he's on the field, I think he will produce. Now we're going on to our next pick, and that is Travion Henderson here, who I took.
So with Travion Henderson, I like this pick as well. I do think that there will be a production issue with Travion in the first year. Just because I think Ramondre is still a good back, and I think Mike Vrabel knows that he needs to use both of them. I think this pick for you was more of like a potential thing. Like we just know that Travion Henderson's probably a more dynamic player than Judkins.
Hmm.
So that's why I think he was picked over Judkins. I love the talent. I will give it a minus as well.
And I'm gonna have to agree with you on the A minus. I think Henderson. It's tough to do the Gibbs comparison, right? Because I think Gibbs one went to a better situation, right? I think Detroit's O line is better than New England's. I think their offense is better than New England, right? When it probably
Yeah.
happened. But what I will say is, and I also think Gibbs is a better prospect. He's a little bit faster and stuff. I think Henderson's almost at Gibbs' level. Is close enough, but I give a slight edge to Gibbs. You could say that's kind of why the draft capital what it was, where Gibbs went first round, pick 12, and then Henderson went early second. But I mean, I think Henderson will be like maybe a couple points behind Gibbs on their best years, right? I
Yeah.
definitely think he's going to be up there because he got the explosive capability, great pass catcher, and then if that New England offense continue to improve, being led by Drake May, I could definitely see a bright future there, where he's scoring a bunch of touchdowns. So I'm gonna go A minus as well. Now we got our next pick, number 5 for round one. So the first pick out of the lottery, still me though. I went Teteroa McMillan. And so T Mac, Bryce Young is getting more and more help every year. They keep investing in this man with number one wideouts. But I think T Mac is the first number one, well, first round wideout where I'm like, all right, Panthers, great job, y'all hit. I didn't think Leggett shot went in the first round. Uh, but with T Mac, I liked him in college. He dominated the last 2 years in college. He was a whole entire offense there in Arizona last year, getting like 40% of their air yards and all that. Uh, But for him to be such a big, tall wideout, he's very great after the catch, can make people miss. I can see him getting a whole bunch of short yardage plays and then making them turn to medium or big plays, stuff like that. And I think he could be a great red zone threat. Bryce Young improving. I kind of do like this matchup a whole lot. I like T Mac for him.
Um, with T Mac, I don't see 100 receptions, but I see 1,200 yards, 10 to 15 touchdowns as a ceiling. I think he's a great pick as well. You got to see if Bryce Young keeps improving, because if he doesn't do it this year, I do think he's out as quarterback.
Mm.
So that's gonna be a thing. But also, they can bring someone else in. I think Tet is talented. He'll be able to do good with pretty much anybody. I think it's gonna be a good debate. Who's gonna be better, Tet McMillan or Travis Hunter for their career? Um, I'm gonna give this a minus as well.
I agree. Now I want to talk about the trade. I did trade T Mac away, and I also traded T Mac in tandem with another player. Uh, I don't want to talk about the trade. I don't want to glaze myself. Go ahead. If you want to talk about the trade, you can talk about the
He
trade now.
doesn't want to get in trouble, Dom. He doesn't want to get in trouble.
Oh man. Uh,
Yeah, but let's go to the next pick. We'll talk about it when we get to that player.
all right. So we'll talk about it when we get to the other player. Uh, so the next pick was Kev taking Quinshawn Judkins.
Yeah, I like this pick as well. With Quinshawn, there is more worry because I don't think that they have their franchise quarterback as of yet. Um, I think that there's going to be a whole lot of stacked boxes this season. So even if he does get the majority of carries, it's going to be kind of tough for him to kind of unlock that offense. But he's going to get every opportunity possible, I feel. So with that, I'm gonna have to give this a A minus because I do think he's on a similar tier as Travion.
All right, so that's where we're gonna have to slightly disagree. That's the first one. I was almost thinking B, but I'll probably go B plus here. Uh, I definitely think Henderson's a better prospect. Now, what Judkins has shown me, though, I think Judkins can handle a larger workload because he got the bigger frame and all that, bigger build. But I don't think he has the explosiveness to break long runs. I think that's really what you want in fantasy, especially you don't have an offense that can get you in the red zone consistently. And I don't think this offense can do that whatsoever, right? So I think with Henderson, we could go into next year and like let's say they scored the same amount of fantasy points. Well, people will be more excited for Henderson because I feel like Henderson what had a lesser role. So now you're like, all right, now the volume increases. You see what I'm trying to say? You expect for the points to, you know,
Yeah,
increase as well. With Judkins, I feel like he's going to get the volume, but he won't have the efficiency, as you mentioned, because the stack boxes. Plus, they're not getting to the red zone, so you want to get those touchdowns. You want to be in a high-powered offense. Brown scored the fewest points last year. I don't see that changing too much this year. So I'm gonna go B plus here. And like you said, I don't think they have their franchise quarterback either. They need to get a quarterback for me to be excited about this pick whatsoever. But I know Kevin Stefanski likes to run the ball and stuff, but he also could be on the hot seat. So if he's gone, maybe they bring in a pass happy guy, and then Dylan Sampson's the better back or whatever. I don't know, but we have to see. They got three running backs over there. I don't think Jerome Ford's any good, but he's gonna probably be annoying enough. But they also got Dylan Sampson, so I'm not really too happy about Quinshawn Judkins at the 106. But we go on to our next pick. We got Lang. He's taking a Indianapolis Colt player.
Tyler Warren, who I think personally is the best tight end in this draft.
Hmm.
See a lot of Travis Kelsey to him, but a better blocker. Um, with Tyler, I think Lane made a good pick. Uh, there's not much to say other than he does have bad quarterbacks. AR and Daniel Jones, they are not what you want out of a quarterback that's developing a young prospect.
Hmm.
So you want to hope that he gets better quarterback play coming in. But I do think that he will at least be the second option on that offense. So I will give it a. I'm gonna give it an A minus as well. So I think it's a good pick.
I agree with you a lot there. I'm gonna give it A minus. I think that offense could be decent enough. I do like Daniel Jones as a thrower so much more than AR. Where if it was the AR show again, like AR was to get the start, I wouldn't like it. But I think Daniel Jones will start the season with AR, still recovering from injury, and Daniel Jones getting a lot of the first team reps and stuff like that right now. If Daniel Jones starts the season, I think he's shown he at least can complete passes, right? So I do like it a little bit. I do think they need a way better quarterback. So I even think this year though, Tyler Warren could be solid since this is tight end premium. I don't hate the pick or anything. I'm gonna go B plus as well. I'm sorry. It's tough because to
I
me,
mean,
what up?
what's tough about the Colts is like they're always gonna be mid, so they can never like really tank for a quarterback, and that's the
That is
problem.
true. Yeah, that is true. Uh, I almost wanted to give it an A minus, but like Tyler Warren right here, just ugh. I think this is the nasty part of the draft. I told you this when I drafted and stuff. That's why I didn't care about the bid on trade back. My top
Yeah.
five was locked. I thought pick 6 to maybe like 8 is like, you're kind of reaching for the players. Cause like I don't hate Tyler
Uh,
Warren, but to see him go that many more picks ahead of Colton Loveland, I love the Loveland pick that much better. That makes sense. Uh,
yeah. Well, I
so,
think there was some absolute steals in the second round.
oh, without a
Mainly
doubt.
because of Kevin. Kevin
Yeah,
went pretty heavy. Should we
yeah.
go on to our next pick and talk
Yeah,
about it?
and Kev. So we got Kev with a double up here. So Kev traded like a first round pick, I think, to move up one spot. A 2026 first to move up one spot, if I'm not mistaken. And Kev goes Caleb Johnson and RJ Harvey. I'm not sure that's the exact trade. I thought he moved up from the 110 to the 109, right?
Uh,
For a first round pick next year, which is an insane trade to me. I feel finessed because shoot, I charged Benham a second round pick in 2026 to move up and get Omarion Hampton over like dang. Uh, a 109 to 110 is a full first. Oh my goodness, this is how Mike
yeah.
probably felt in
Coming
defensive
from
players.
someone that had one
Yeah,
win the year before.
exactly. Like yo, Kev, that's a crazy one to give up. And you just saw your pick turn into what? Hampton or whoever it was. You saw him trying to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough give up there, Kev. But he gives up his pick to get Caleb Johnson or RJ Harvey here. Caleb Johnson for the Steelers. I do like Jalen Warren's there, but I think Johnson will be the starter. And I don't know how I feel about that offense really with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. Arthur Smith though does like to run the ball, so there's that. I'm probably go B plus here.
So to me, this is kind of like a package, like
Uh-huh.
one grade for both players, just because
Okay.
I feel like they correlate with each other. So, Kev, I think you should have diversified the team. And I also think that if that was a trade, we're gonna have to go back and look at it. If that was a first round pick for the 109, brother, I hate to tell you this, but you could have got one of these running backs at the 110 and been perfectly like you didn't have to give up that first.
Yeah. Let's
Because
go
Harvey
see.
and Johnson were gonna be there, I promise you.
I want to go
Because
see
Stidham was taking a
exactly.
quarterback no matter what.
I can't remember the trade. Benham traded him something. It was a crazy. I can't remember it. Dang it. And I don't even know how to go back and look at it, so I'm just going to go back to the draft results. Uh, but it definitely was a crazy trade, in my opinion, when I saw it. Oh, I could probably type it in my notes, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to messages 109. 109. Bully Woj probably broke it, you think?
Maybe. Bully Woj is very inconsistent nowadays.
Bully Woj was in Tokyo, maybe, during the draft. No, I don't even see it. Harvey. I type in Harvey. I still don't see it.
It had to be
It's
a
whatever.
trade from before.
Yeah.
But I'll keep yapping. So I think
Uh,
these picks they all correlate. So I'm gonna give them the same grade. I'm gonna give them a B.
B. Okay, I'm finna give the Harvey one like a B minus. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
the Harvey one, I would probably gave it a B on the draft when it happened. But like, I also got a docket if he gave up a first. But I also got a docket because J.K. Dobbins got added. So it's like
Uh huh.
both of those. I'm not gonna docket too much for the Dobbins one. 'Cause I think I said this in Freedom, where I think Dobbins is more of an indictment on the backup running backs than R.J. Harvey himself. But nevertheless, I do have to dock some points. So I got B plus for Caleb Johnson and B minus for Harvey, and you got B for both. So you packaged them together. But I mean, overall, our averages hit the same thing. Uh, then keep trade cut. Well, I guess what keep slash cut Harvey Johnson. Which one do you prefer?
As of right now, Johnson.
Is it because of youth?
No, because it's the J.K. Dobbins problem.
All right. All right. Now we got the final pick of the first round, and that is Bidham taking Cam Ward.
I think this was the best value of the draft.
I agree.
Someone that's pretty much going in the top five picks in Superflex leagues.
hmm
I understand also that in this league, quarterback is not as heavily needed. So With that being said, I can't give it an A plus, but I'm definitely giving it an A.
I agree. I was flabbergasted that this pick happened because I want to say Benham sent me an offer earlier in the off season for like the 105 for the 109 or 110 or something. Right? So
Hmm.
trading back one of those players I had in that tier 2 to go back and get two players I had in tier 3. And I declined it. But if I knew Cam Ward and Abuka were going to be there, oh my goodness gracious. Wow. I'd rather have Cam Ward and Abuka over T Mac.
Hmm.
I just think that's phenomenal value there to get Cam Ward, the first overall draft pick this late into the draft. That's crazy. I mean, he almost made it to the second round. That's a blunder. I was so surprised when Kev did that move there. But now we're
I
going
will
on to our
say I
second
have
round
found
pick.
the Kev trade as well.
Yes, what is it? Inform us.
So it was Kev's 2026 first
Uh huh.
and Jake's, or no, yeah, it's Kev's 2026 first and Jacob's 2025 208 went to Bidham for Sway's 109, which was Harvey,
Uh huh.
and a 2026 third. So not only did he give up what's most likely Kev going to be a top three pick next year,
Uh huh.
top four, because you're going to be in the lottery, Kev. None of this draft stuff saved you, I promise. And he gave that up and a second round pick for a future third and the 109.
Wow.
F trade, F trade.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Sorry, Kev, had to dunk on
All right. Now we're
you.
going
So
on. And Dan, you put that one video out there in the chat, right? People, what was
yeah,
it? They talk about, is this how you trade
how
and
to
all that?
trade better.
Yeah, yes. And for people that didn't watch the video, it was like cornerstone assets, right? Your elite players that are rare to come by, right? You don't want to trade those players away. Your cornerstone assets, the most valuable players on your team that create a league, well, no, but league winning upside, got a great positional advantage for you. Don't trade those players away. Don't trade away your future draft picks. Don't trade away rookies, right? Those are all the three things that you're talking about. Your
Hmm.
future draft picks. He's mainly said your future first. You should not trade your future first in the off season. I kid you
Yeah,
not. I think that is a blunder. The future first in the off season is a blunder. You trade that away during the season. You know you're making playoffs and it's going to be a mid to late pick because Kevin, you don't make playoffs. I don't think you will. Dan don't think you will. That is a blunder, a generational blunder. It puts you in Dom territory. Where Dom at least finally came to a senses and said, "Oh, I got to rebuild for next year." Dom, do not trade your first round pick under any scenario, any. But now
well,
we're
I
going
think
on to
of it
round
like
two.
this.
What up?
Benham wins solely because Kev has to basically out beat out that pick, right?
Yeah,
So he has to be the 109 or the 110, in my opinion, to solidify or to justify trading that pick.
I would say the 108. If he gets the 108, that means he got $100. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So 108, you got your money back. So as long as you make money, Kev, finish top three, and you get your money back or go profit wise. The pick, all right, you can live with it.
everything else
But
is a failure,
yeah,
right?
I agree.
All
Yep.
right.
Round two. What's round two's first pick? Put it in my notes.
Kev again with Matthew Golden, which is another blunder in my opinion.
Yeah, I disagree with the golden pick.
So we had talked about this before, I think, in Freedom. Green Bay receivers aren't going to get 80% of the snaps or higher, and I think that is a problem. I don't see him finishing anything higher than a wide receiver two next year, and probably for his career, honestly. And then it's just the fact that you have Amika Ibuka. Somebody like Kev would have benefited from an Amika Ibuka because you're not competing this year. I'm sorry. Even if you think you are,
Yeah,
you're not. And so an Amika Ibuka on a Kev team to where you can possibly, I'm not going to say tank, but like you're not going to be good next year. You know that. So you don't have to worry about Amika producing this year. So
I
if you
agree.
have him on your team, you allow him to develop, you allow him to take time, rise up on the depth chart, and then in that second and third year, you reap the benefits. So I think the fact that you picked Golden, I'm gonna give this a C minus. I don't like it at all.
Oh my gosh. Uh, it's tough. It's tough. All right. So there's several players here I would rather have over Golden. Right. And I just wanted to get on record. Give me Loveland over Golden and tight end premium. Give me a Book over Golden. Better prospect in my opinion. Better situation because people are like, oh, he's gone to Green Bay. He could be the number one for Jordan Love. I haven't seen Jordan Love actually have a number one wideout, right? So like, let's say Aaron Rodgers 5 years ago, you get drafted to Green Bay. Well, no, Devontae Adams is there, but like we've seen
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers pepper Devontae Adams, right, and force feed a wideout. I see Jordan Love just spreading the ball around so much, and like you said, they rotate so many wideouts in and out. Where I'm not even excited about being the number one wideout in Green Bay personally. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go C plus because I don't think it's a horrible pick. I do acknowledge I could be wrong on him, but I'm just gonna go C plus. But now we got our next pick. Montana traded up with you, I believe, right? Josh Jacobs, he gave
Yep.
up to get this pick, and a little bit other stuff in that trade, if I'm not mistaken. But Montana trades up to get Colston Loveland.
Yeah. So Montana trades up to get Colston Loveland. I like the player. Situation is a little tough, but that's with both tight ends. You do get him one, two, three, four, 5 picks later,
Uh-huh.
which I think is a value. But the problem is Montana, and I'm the one that traded with you. You traded Josh Jacobs away for this man,
Yeah,
and I think that's a value discrepancy. I do think Josh Jacobs was with the first. I ain't gonna lie to you, buddy. But either
I.
way, you traded for him.
Uh-huh.
I think you're believing that you're gonna be in the rebuilding year, so fair enough. You could say Colston Loveland was a first round pick, but he just fell.
Yeah,
So with that, I'm gonna give it a. I'm not gonna give it a minus because you have to do a better trade, but B plus.
that's fair. I'm gonna go A minus because, as you kind of mentioned though, like it was a bad trade to give up Jacobs for it, but also Loveland fell, so I feel like it balanced out. I like Loveland a lot as a prospect here. I think in that situation, we've seen Ben Johnson have Laporta be really good. I would make the case that Colston Loveland's a better prospect than Laporta. I had to go see what Laporta was coming out of college to be exact. But I don't remember Loveland. Well, I don't remember Laporta. That makes sense going nearly as early in Dynasty. But granted, that could be because of Laporta and Brock Bowers, where, before people were like, oh, rookie tight ends don't really produce their first year. But now, because of Laporta and Bowers' rookie seasons, people are like, oh, rookie tight ends can produce. So people are a little bit more excited to go and get the elite ones. But we'll have to see here. I do like that pick a lot. So I got B plus for you and A minus for me. The next one is Bidham, right? And he goes with Ibuka.
Yep. Yeah.
That one hurt. Uh, and the reason this one hurt, I talking to you, Dan. You know how much I like Ibuka. The problem is, I feel like Kev wasn't gonna do the trade because Kev's at the 201 and stuff. And I feel like he liked Golden so much. I love that I traded up and got my hands on Ibuka. I think
Right.
this was Benham's pick, or did he trade up to get this pick? I'm not sure exactly.
I think he did trade up.
Uh,
I
I,
think Mike originally had this pick somehow.
yeah, Mike didn't make playoffs, so this would be about where Mike was if this is his pick, and that's a bummer. 'Cause I love that I got Ibuka here at the 203. Or Loveland. I loved either of those players to fall to me at the 203, but nevertheless, Benham gets this pick, so shout out to Benham for this one. I love this pick a lot. I'm giving it an A.
I like this pick as well. With Bidham, I think he is trying to become an up and coming contender. So while I do think his team will make playoffs this year, his real opportunity and window I feel like is next year. And that's perfect with a player like Igbuka. And then plus like the fall, like the fact that you got him at the 203, elite
Hmm.
value. I'm gonna give it an A.
I agree. Uh, Now I'm up here, and I went with Jaden Higgins and Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like Jaden Higgins, first rookie that got a fully guaranteed contract in the second round. So first second round rookie, I mean. to ever get that. So that's a great thing there. I don't know if he played snaps in OTA. I don't know how he got that contract to be exact. But shout out to him for getting his bag. Love Jada Higgins' landing spot being the number two wideout in Houston, and I mentioned this in previous videos in Freedom. CJ Stroud has shown he's able to maintain two elite wideouts, right? Nico Collins and Tank Dell during CJ and Tank Dell's rookie year, and then last year was Nico and Stephon Diggs, and then once Diggs went out, it was Nico and Tank Dell again until Tank Dell went out. But now you got Jaden Higgins, and Nico has been known to miss time, so there could be some weeks where he's the number one wideout. I like this pick a whole lot. Unfortunately, he's not on my team anymore, but overall, I'm gonna give this pick a B plus.
I agree. The more and more I think about Higgins, the more and more I like him for this year. I think Nico, he hasn't shown that he could do a full season. So Jaden Higgins will get wide receiver one opportunities, I feel, this year. So I think it's a good pick. My friend World said he likes him, but he did trade him away. So he
Let's
traded
go
with
ahead and talk
Dom,
about the
Jaden
trade.
Higgins, and
Yep.
Tet for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I will say, Dom, you got absolutely fleeced.
Oh, it was
I'll
criminal.
just say it the way it is.
So
Um,
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Dan.
No, go ahead.
All right. So Dom, the best advice I can give you is the season doesn't start till September. If you're trading away St. Brown, and the one dude said in the video, that dichotomy of chicken, he basically made the analogy where it's like, yo, I gave you an offer. You have to counter with something, Dom. You sent me an offer for St. Brown earlier in the year, and you wanted some more players. You wanted a 3-for-1 for St. Brown, whatever. And then you took that offer back. You should have asked for more players in that trade package. And I'm glad you gave you a Pat Bryant for free, for example. Right? You wanted Pat Bryant as well, or whatever. Like you could have definitely asked for more, but more importantly, you got to give people more than 1 hour to respond. If you're trading away St. Brown, that could be like, yo, they got a full week, a full month, and nobody meets whatever you want. You set the price market for St. Brown. Or nobody meets that. You keep St. Brown on your team. There's no way you should have gave me a proven top three wideout back to back years for an
Well,
unproven wideout. Well, two unproven wideouts.
my thing was with this trade that I believe, okay, I believe it was a Monday. It was 9 a.m. Pacific time. So most people are at work or doing something, I promise you. Or asleep, because we
Yeah.
do have night workers. So you did that, Dom. You said you were trading him within the hour, and then you traded him in 45 minutes. So you didn't even give people the full time to send you anything. You were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna accept. So, Dom, please trade better. But yeah, Jaden Higgins, I'm gonna give him a B.
B or B plus? Which one?
Yeah,
My bad. All right.
B.
Now we got Jackson Dart here.
Okay, so this pick, I like it, but I don't. Just because I don't feel like it fits your roster.
Well, this was before I had another quarterback. That makes sense. So I'm trying to think.
Yes, but also you also went and traded for that quarterback, so you were also making bad trades as well, buddy.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
Fix yourself.
Here's what I will say about the trade. It pissed me off when I thought about it after. Oh my goodness, that's incentives, man. So I offered Jake the trade 2 seconds for T Law before the draft happened. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, like after the draft happened, he hit me up. Hey, yo, 2 seconds for T Law. I do the trade. I like, all right, cool. Now I thought after I hit accept and stuff, like next day, I'm like, wait a minute. The reason I drafted Jackson Dart is because I didn't have another quarterback. And now I'm looking at my roster. I'm like, dang, I drafted Dart and Milrow. And the reason was like, all right, I won't have to do any trades for quarterbacks or anything. You sound trying to say? I just ride out with T Law and Penix this year, and hopefully Dart or Milrow or maybe in Milrow can be starters next year. And then I'm like, damn, now I got 5 quarterbacks. It's like so
So moral of the
we'll have to
story,
see.
kids, don't smoke crack.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jackson Dart here.
But either way, Dart, he's a good lead value. I still think there's going to be a trade window for him.
Uh-huh.
When quarterbacks go down, they always go down every year. So
Yeah,
if you're able to flip him for something, kudos to you. I'm gonna give this a B minus.
I agree with you. B minus. I would have drafted Luther Burden here if I didn't draft Dart. But like, It's tough. 'Cause I like Luther Burden so much after his sophomore year, and then last year I'm just like, I can't get with it. That Missouri offense just looked awful. But now we got our next pick
Bidham trading to get Cam Scatterboot.
over Luther Burden. Bidham traded up to get Cam.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. With Bidham, I think he traded and then he was like, you know what, I don't want the pick, but then he kept the pick. I don't even know what he was doing. Cam Scatterboot this high. How do I feel about it? A lot of people like him. I do think Tracy and Singletary are gonna have roles next year or this year.
hmm
So he's gonna be a tough year one player. But I do think in the future, year two, year three, he is gonna be, that nice pass catcher that he's shown in college. I don't know how much of the run game he's gonna get personally,
hmm
but even if he could get 10 rushes and like five, six, seven catches a game, I do think that's value.
Five
I'm gonna
catches a
give it
game.
a
Jesus.
yeah,
That
yeah.
man
I do think
McCaffrey.
he's got that in his bag. Um, no, but I do think he's got it in his bag. So I'm gonna give him a B.
Um, I think I'm gonna go. I'm flirting between B minus and C plus. Uh, I don't. I think that's going to be a surprisingly decent offense. I won't lie to you. And the reason I say that is I think their defense is insane. So I think their defense having that elite pass rush could force a lot of turnovers, either through strip sacks or pressures that could lead to interception, batted passes, lead to third and longs, force some punts that way. Where I think that offense could benefit off of that. Now that they definitely got quarterback upgrades, right? Because Russ at this stage of his career isn't prime Russ. Jameis is a gunslinger and all that, but both those guys are definitely better than DeVito, Drew Lock, and however many games Daniel Jones played and all that. There is quarterback upgrades over there. So I think that could lead to red zone opportunities. I think it could definitely be a solid red zone back. Uh, so I will go B minus. I will go B minus. I got a B for you and then B minus for this other one. So now we got Luther Burden, by the way.
Okay, this is someone that I traded my 26 second for. The
Was
reason
it a
I
one for
traded up
one
for him
trade?
because it was.
Wow.
So I traded up for him just because I thought that he was sliding. I think he's in the same tier as Higgins and Golden.
I agree.
Um, I think he's a good player. I think a lot of it last year with his season was bad scheme and bad quarterback play.
hmm
Honestly, the only thing I'm worried about with Luther is his personality. He's kind of a different, like out there player. Kind of rubs people the wrong way. So other than that, I do think the talent will shine through. I think this is a B in my opinion.
I'm gonna go B plus. I think Luther Burden has a tough situation to be in, right? Because Ben Johnson,
All
right?
those targets.
Exactly. I'm gonna get all those targets. It's the Ben Johnson guy, so of course Ben Johnson want the draft picks he get to look good and all that. But he's also competing with Rome Odunze, who went as a top 10 pick. He's competing
Plus,
with DJ Moore, who's a proven wide receiver, a veteran, made Pro Bowl and all that. DJ Moore is really good. uh, Loveland and Komet will be on the field a lot, in my opinion. I think Komet would be very annoying. How many times are they going to be running through wide receiver sets and all that, right? Where both of
yeah,
them's on. I think Rome and DJ Moore and two wide receiver sets who see most of the workload. Rome was playing like 90+% of snaps last year. Same with DJ Moore, where uh, I just see them being out there for most of the two wide receiver sets, if not all of them. So, how much do you get as primarily a third wideout? And truth be told, I think there is a world where if DJ Moore has another good year, I don't know what exactly his contract is and all that, but like he's on the team next year maybe or something. I don't know.
hmm
But I think Komet will probably be gone in the off season. But this year, like the outlook isn't looking great for him, and you're not getting those snaps to develop and all that and improve. Maybe it doesn't change next year, but we'll see. Luther Bird, I got a B plus. Though. I do think it's a great value pick here compared to where the other wide receivers went that are in the same range. And now we're going on to our next person, who is
It's Mike with Trey Harris.
Mike with
So with
Trey
Trey
Harris.
Harris, I don't see him being an impact player year one. I think this is like a developmental type pick.
Huh?
Um, I personally think he's Quentin Johnson Jr. Junior.
Oh my.
I think he's the same build, same type of archetype player. I honestly don't know why the Chargers drafted him, but
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Um, I'm gonna have to give this a C plus just because how I feel about the player.
That's fair. Uh, So I don't like the Trey Harris pick that much either, but when you're drafting around these players like Trey Harris going here, it's about where I expect. The problem I have with Trey Harris is I think that Chargers offense is going to be very run heavy, and I think when they do pass, they have a true number one wideout in Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd McConkey is a solid wideout. Good against beating man, press zone, all that stuff. Surprise! What do they say? Sneaky athletic for the white people. Very sneaky athletic. This guy is. So Trey Harris will be the number two option in a team that I don't expect to pass too much. I don't think Trey Harris is that elite type route runner, not nearly as good as Latt McConkey to constantly get open and open and open. So you're gonna be hoping for like big plays, maybe contested catches or getting schemed open and all that. We'll have to see, but I'm not really too huge on Trey Harris personally. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go C plus actually. No, let me go look. Who won after? Let me load up the draft results. I put in my notes. I'm trying to see, is it the
Kyle
best player
Williams,
available? Oh my gosh, Kyle
Kyle
Williams.
Williams, Tuden.
I'm gonna go B minus. I think we're getting to a point right now where like taking Trey Harris here is still okay. It might be the best player available. I could kind of see a world for it. All right, now we're going on to what?
Sway with Kyle Williams.
Sway with Kyle Williams. I did not think Sway had this in his bag. No cap. When Sway made the pick, I actually messaged him and said, "Wow, good pick." I didn't think Sway had this in his bag. Kyle Williams getting a whole lot of buzz as the third wide receiver over there. And with Stephon Diggs coming off a major knee injury, we don't know when Diggs will debut in New England. Kyle Williams could be the number one wideout to start the season or something like that. So they took him in what, round three, if I'm not mistaken. So Kyle Williams getting a lot of buzz and stuff. A lot of people like Kyle Williams. That's who Sway went here. Uh,
Um, I like Kyle Williams as well, just because that New England offense, like it's Stephon Diggs and like a bunch of bums, honestly.
mhm.
Like yeah, it's so easy to emerge over there. So if he can build a good rapport with what's his name, Drake May, then I think he will shine. I'll give it a B plus.
Wow. I'm gonna just go B. But I do like it a lot, though. I do like it a lot. Now we got our next pick, Dom. He goes by Shoal Tootin, running back for Jacksonville, and this is a very interesting pick. I like Tootin because I like that Jacksonville offense, but the problem is they still got ETN, they still got Tank Bigsby. It's gonna be tough for Tootin to see the field over those two players, in my opinion. But ETN's on the final year of his deal. If ETN's gone next year, then maybe Tootin's looking much better, right? Bigsby and Tune, who knows who wins the starting lineup and stuff like that. But right now, he is the third running back on the depth chart.
Yeah, I think Tune has what good athletic ability based off what we saw at the combine.
Hmm.
Year one will be tough, like you said, with all the running backs that are still there. I think ETN is given a chance. Um, I think it's a good upside pick for Dom. I'm gonna give it a B.
And go a little bit lower. I'm gonna go B minus. Don't like it, but don't hate it either. Uh, all right. That concludes round two. Now we're going on to round three. Round three starts off with Dylan Sampson by Kev.
Um, so I think this started a how do you say it?
Blunders,
Started
inaccuracies.
yeah, just a bunch of inaccuracies, blunders. Dylan Sampson, I don't think he's a great pick just because they already picked up Judkins.
Kev has them
Uh,
both though, so I kind of do see the vision there.
Yeah. Um, with Samson, you're gonna guess what? He's gonna be the pass catcher,
Yeah,
most likely.
Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb
Um,
situation maybe from years past.
so that's what makes it tough for me. Is just because, like,
It hurts both of them because none of them becomes RB ones. Well, Nick
yeah,
Chubb was RB one, but I think Nick Chubb's a way better player than Quinshon
yeah.
Judkins.
Um, I just don't like the pick. I think also with the fact that he had picked three running backs before that and
Yeah.
only one receiver, you could diversify a little more. So I'm gonna give it
Mm,
a C minus.
C minus. I'm just going to go flat C. I don't think these were the correct picks that happened here whatsoever. Dom goes with Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is an interesting one. Jaden Blue, running back for the Cowboys, he's behind Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders right now. Those are two players that have not been looking good for a couple of years now. So there is a pathway. Jaden Blue's getting on the field. He's breaking off long runs while Sanders and Javonte, who run like they don't have any juice left in them, are just getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Jaden Blue could earn more and more opportunity. But I think you brought this up, by the way. The Cowboys probably draft a running back next year. Like, I don't know why they didn't draft one this year or the year before. Or, like, the Cowboys eventually have to draft a running back. I'm not talking about one in round 5 like Jaden Blue. I'm talking about one in the first round or early second, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and with Blue, I think there is size issues.
Hmm.
5'9" and he's under 200 pounds. So the fact that he is both small and skinny, I don't like that. Um, I think Javante kind of has a better season than what people think. Um, but I don't see anything for Jaden Blue other than RB2 in his future in his career. Uh, I'm gonna go C minus.
All right. I'm going to go C plus. 'Cause I do see a pathway. I won't lie to you. I do like the upside swing. I do like it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't like Jaden Blue. Uh, because I had a Cowboy running back last year, Rico Dowdle. I saw even in a horrible situation, a Cowboy running back could be really good, and Jaden Blue could do okay. Cause let's say Sanders or Javonte misses time, then Jaden Blue goes up to RB2, and that's like just that's not too far to fetch to think or anything like that. They miss time, goes up to RB2, and he's produced on that third down roll. That could be double digit points some weeks. High powered offense. I do like it. Now, Dom goes with Shador Sanders here. And this was a crazy pick to me. This one was crazy. He goes Shador Sanders, the fifth round quarterback.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think he thinks he's gonna be a career starter for the Browns, probably a franchise quarterback. Dom would tell you. Um, Dom will tell you there's a conspiracy in the NFL for Shador. Some people believe that, but I just think his attitude really killed him in the draft. Um, but he also wasn't really a great prospect like coming out. So, Dom, yeah, I just think it was a bad pick. I'm gonna give it a D
I'm giving it
plus,
a
just because
D.
I think he will start,
Mm.
but it won't be for long.
I'm just gonna give it a D. D for Dom. D for dumb. D for no, I'm kidding. I don't say so. This is what I'm gonna say about Sanders. I did like Sanders a lot in college, and I thought he was going in the first round. I would have been surprised if he went top 5. Like the Browns traded back to number 5. I wouldn't have been surprised if they drafted Shador Sanders there instead of Mason Graham. I wouldn't have. Uh, but they drafted a quarterback before Sanders, and I think that quarterback they drafted before Sanders will probably play before Sanders. That makes sense. When it comes
Hmm.
to starting, I think they will test him out. Now, the reason I didn't draft Dylan Gabriel, 'cause I don't think he's going to be any good, right? But I think he will get the start before Sanders. I'd be surprised if they go from Joe Flacco straight to Sanders, right? I think they go Joe Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, then Sanders. What do you think? What do you think the order will go through? I think they run through all full quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, I think it's Flacco, Pickett. I don't think Dylan Gabriel even makes it on the field. I think it should do right
Wow.
after.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that was a waste of a pick by them.
That's just awful. I talked about this, by the way. You're drafting a quarterback that's going to an organization that has been bad our whole entire life, especially when it comes to quarterback play. They only had one decent quarterback, and they didn't even pay the man. And that guy was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield only had like one good year fantasy wise for the Browns. Uh, but then you see Baker left that situation, and now oh Baker's actually good type stuff. Shador would have to leave that situation. Now you're gonna have to wait out this man's whole
Hmm.
entire rookie contract because they don't have an elite wide receiver. I say this as a person that owns Jerry Judy. He is that an elite wide receiver. I don't care. He was like sixth in receiving yards last year. That was a fluke because Jameis Winston's out there gunslinging. Like Judy ain't it. They drafted running backs, so that doesn't really help you. Look at Carolina, for example, that was bad last year. They're drafting wide receivers to help their quarterback. The Browns are drafting running backs. So how that finna get you fantasy points, Don? You just turning and handing the ball off. Like I just don't see the vision here. I ain't gonna lie to you, Don. I just
Especially
don't see
with
the
a
vision.
quarterback that doesn't really run.
Exactly. There's no upside here. So I mean, I'm giving it a D straight up. But we're going on to our next picks, and I have four picks in a row. I ended up trading one of these picks, the middle one for Bidham, the Bidham. But we're talking about our next two pick here that both belong to me. I went Jack Besh and Jalen Milrow. So let's talk about Jack Besh first. Somebody I thought that shot won in the second round.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should have went in the second after Kyle Williams. Um,
Second round
I
wide
think he's a
receiver.
good prospect. I will say though, TCU receivers do not generally do well in the NFL.
Yeah.
But we
It,
shall see.
and he's not getting first team reps, so I'm not mistaken. So it was like I might have missed here, but he did fall to me in the third round. So I was happy with this.
Yeah. So I think it was good value. I'm gonna give it a B.
All right, that's fair. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Now we're going on to Jalen Milrow. I love this pick
You
right at
could
that.
talk about Milrow
All
a little
right,
bit.
so I think Milrow was bad at Alabama. I don't think he's very accurate. But the difference between Milrow and AR, who a lot of people will compare him to, is AR went in the first round of rookie startup drafts. Went in like round three, uh, in what? Round three or round four in our Dynasty for Legacy draft when AR was a rookie. Remember, Stroud, Young, and AR all went in that same range.
Hmm.
Milrow goes much later, and Milrow has the same upside that AR has, but we don't know what Milrow is. We know that all right, AR was a bust, right? You know, like you spent all your scouting points on college recruiting players and all that, and they're like, ah, this Joker's not a gem, he's a bust. That's AR. Well, we're spending the scouting points right now on Jalen Milrow. We don't know if he's a bust or a gem, but if he's a gem, he's a top five startup pick. He has the same ceiling that Lamar has, game breaking speed, and if he can get the passing down, he could be a fantasy cheat code. If he's a bust, well, it's a third round pick. We're gonna look back in these drafts as we did last year and be like, oh, third round picks don't even hit anyways. So I swim for the fences here, and we're gonna see if I struck out or got a grand slam. But I love this pick a lot. I'm giving it an A minus.
So I'm a little lower on Jalen Milrow just because in college he didn't show the accuracy either.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, but who knows? Maybe he develops. My hope for him is that Sam Darnold actually does pan out for at least a year, and then in that second year maybe he starts tanking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him out there this year. 'Cause if he's out there this year, I think it's a failure,
I agree.
just because he won't have the time.
I agree.
So with that, I'm gonna give it a B as well.
All right. And now we're going on to Bidham's pick.
Terrence Ferguson.
Okay.
I think he's the best tight end prospect out of all the second round tight ends that were this year. Him, Taylor, Arroyo.
Mm-hmm.
I think he goes to the best head coach, the best situation. The only thing is he has a couple tight ends ahead of him, but Higby's in his last year of his contract, and Colby Parkinson is in a contract as well, but I think he's a cut candidate. I'm gonna give this a B minus just because I think it's a little more developmental.
That's fair. Uh, I'm gonna probably agree with you. I think in B, but I will agree with you on the B minus pick. Uh, Ferguson's a good pick there. I think learning routes and stuff with Puka and Devontae Adams and all that could definitely be a great thing to learn from. And with Devontae being so old, he's on a 2 year contract there. Maybe Devontae, I think he's going to have a great year this year. Maybe next year, he doesn't demand as many targets. And then Ferguson with Higbee beyond his last year. Second year Ferguson, I could definitely see a pathway for the great fantasy relevancy. But now we're going on to my pick in round 3, which was what? Jalen Noel. I thought about going Tyler Shuck here or Devin Neal, but I decided to go Jalen Noel. And by the way, Benham got that Terrence Ferguson pick in a trade. I want to clarify that. Uh, it was Garrett Wilson plus that pick for Rashee Rice. So that was a trade. But now we're going on to my pick, the 307, Jalen
Yep.
Noel. Um,
So
mhm.
I think Noel's a good depth piece. I don't think he hits the field until Nico gets hurt, just because
Mhm.
I think Christian Kirk is there still.
Yeah,
Um, what do I have to say about Noel? No, I think he had a better college career than Jaden Higgins, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Stat wise, it's definitely very close.
But he is just like a smaller receiver.
Yeah,
A bit fast. Uh, I'm gonna give it a B minus.
that's fair. I agree with you on that one. B minus. Got him because, like I said, I had Jaden Higgins, so uh, got him kind of as a handcuff to Jaden Higgins, just in case if, like, my whole thing is one of them should pan out. So let's say Jaden Higgins was a bust. Well, hopefully Jalen Noel isn't, right? If I get invested in two, like, hopefully the Texans didn't go 0 for 2 in wideouts in this draft, right? So that's kind of was my thought process there on getting Jalen Noel. Just a little insurance. Now we're going on to our next pick, which is
It is Mason Taylor for Jake.
Mason Taylor. So another tight end. This one for the Jets. Uh, really behind Garrett Wilson, there's nobody over there.
Yeah.
So I do see a pathway to this one being really good. The problem is Justin Fields is the quarterback, and Justin Fields, I don't think that's going to be a very pass happy offense. I think they're going to run the ball a whole lot, and that's going to be annoying. But I think Mason Taylor could be second on that team in targets and receptions. So with that being said, I'm gonna give it a B.
I think Mason Taylor's a good pick. He is the youngest one out of all those tight ends. He turned
Mm-hmm.
21 recently,
Uh-huh.
so still a lot of years to develop. Not that great production wise in college, but the Jets took him high, and draft capital means a lot down here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a B.
All right. Now we got Montana with Ollie Gordon. Uh, Running back in Miami, so it's a high-powered offense, but I think he will be the third-string running back. Now, there's Jalen Wright over there. There is Devon A. Chen over there. Devon A. Chen showing that he is a Pro Bowl caliber running back. I expect for him to be on the field most of the time. But Ollie Gordon, I think, brings a different dynamic to this team since he's a little bit bigger than the other guys. So maybe he gets the red zone role, and we've seen Raheem Mostert get that red zone role and be very, very productive with it in Miami. We'll have to see exactly what happens over there. But don't hate the pick, don't love it per se. I liked it more. He had Devon A. Chan or
Yeah.
something.
With Dolly, he's definitely RB3 this year.
Hmm.
I will say with Dolphins running backs, they are kind of fragile sometimes, so there is possibility for opportunity. Um, I think right here you're just kind of like throwing darts at this point. I think after the tight ends went off the board and Null, I do think there's a tier break. So I'm gonna give it a C plus.
All right, and I gave it a C. So C plus for you and C. And then we got our last pick, Kev. Now, unfortunately, we're about to run out of time, so I'm gonna end the video right here so we can save it. Unless you got like 30 seconds, Dan. Will Howard at the end of round 3, uh, quarterback for the Steelers. This is before they signed anybody, so it seemed like there's a chance he could have been starting. So I didn't think it was that bad of a pick. Now they signed Aaron Rodgers. Does Aaron Rodgers? Does he teach Will Howard anything? That's what it basically comes down to. Overall, I think the pick's okay-ish. I'd probably give it a C. I didn't care for him too much out of
Um,
college.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. At the time, it was a good pick. Will Howard, developmental for sure, but I do think he will get an opportunity at some point.
All right, see you guys on the next one. We barely got that one done, Dan. Oh my goodness.